The qualify method makes cold approach too easy. For the longest time, I used to struggle to talk to girls in a way that I felt confident. If I did get rejected, I'd be second guessing myself, thinking I was doing something wrong. But now using the qualify method and having tons of success doing so, it allows me to talk to girls in a way that makes me feel confident, knowing that I have the best approach and the results prove it. So in this video, I'm gonna be breaking down what is the qualify method and the 3 reasons why it makes cold approach too easy. So the qualify method is where you see yourself as the prize and you treat girls as equals to you and you are qualifying them to join your lifestyle. You see yourself very highly. You have a high self-image and self-worth of yourself, and when you go out and talk to girls, you are not coming from a desperate, needy standpoint, but you're coming to it in a way where you're trying to see if she's a good fit to join your lifestyle, and if she doesn't qualify, then no big deal, you move on to the next one. This does so many things to your mindset and it completely changes the way that you act, behave, and move through the world. Your energy will change and go into a place of abundance instead of scarcity, and it's gonna completely change your outlook and the way that girls and the world at large views you. So it's a super powerful change. The littlest thing that we're gonna go over is gonna change everything. And now when you're qualifying girls, you're not interviewing them, it's not an interview. You're just having a conversation to see if they're a fun, cool girl. You're still gonna be the charming, charismatic, fun version of yourself, but that's kind of the mindset and the lens that you're going into it with, is you're just trying to see, is this person a good fit? Do we vibe together? Does she have good energy? Is she someone I would wanna see myself spending time with? And if the question's no, or if she ignores you right off the bat, then she's just simply disqualified. And that's a really easy mind trick that's gonna allow you to talk to a lot of girls without getting all bent out of shape, because I work with so many coaching clients who lose their mind if they get rejected by one girl. And it's all about creating a mental model which will allow you to succeed in the long run. This is why I've had thousands of rejections, but I've also had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of great conversations that lasted a long time, and then plenty of girls who I went on to bring home and sleep with and date and all this stuff. But it's only because of the mindset and the mental model that I created that allowed me to be successful when I was younger. And this is a really easy understanding of that mental model that I'm going to be breaking down for you and the benefits of it in just a second. But before we dive into that, I created every single one of you a conversation mastery guide breaking down exactly how I use this qualify method, how I go up and speak to girls in this sort of way that allows me to have this success, see myself as the prize, treat them as an equal, and get with the hottest girls. So that's completely for free. It's the first link in the description below. You can grab that now. So the first reason that the qualify method is so powerful is because it takes advantage of the law of detachment. And for those of you who don't know what that means, the law of detachment is just detaching yourself emotionally from the outcome which you want to attain. So in this case, let's say it's dating a girl, bringing her home for the night, just having a successful conversation and getting her info, whatever it is, you're detached from that outcome. And this allows you to operate in a completely different energy state. It changes the way that you act, you behave, and it is extremely powerful and true. If you don't believe in this, you haven't had enough experiences, because some of you right now are going to be like, holy shit, I can see how this works. And if you haven't, you got to go out there and talk to more girls, because if you've been nervous and then you've also had experiences where you've been calm, you see how you change into a completely different person. When I was in high school, I placed so much importance on having a good conversation, on knowing what to say, on impressing the girl, on all these things that really didn't matter. And because of it, 1, I never even went and talked to any girls. 2, the few girls who I did go up and talk to, I was so nervous and so in my head and had so much anxiety that I always ended up messing it up. So when I was able to detach from the outcome, when I was able to go in just knowing that I'm the best version of myself, having true confidence, understanding that I do know social skills and communication, and I'm gonna be fine to manage the conversation no matter where it goes, I started having the best conversations I've ever had. But it was only until I detached from that outcome, and this qualify method really allows you to do that, because you're not focused on trying to attain that girl. You're just focused on going out there and seeing who qualifies to fit into your life. And you're gonna have so many people who do not qualify and don't fit into your life, and that's completely okay. That's the whole idea behind the method. So it really utilizes the power of detachment to your advantage in a massive way that's gonna allow you to not get so emotionally reactive when you have a rejection, because you're gonna get rejected all of the time in life. I don't know who told anyone out here that they're not gonna face rejection, because so many people are scared of rejection, and from being an entrepreneur and doing my own thing and going after girls and all the stuff I do, all I get is rejected all the time. I cannot describe how much I get rejected between businesses, between just posting YouTube videos, thinking it's gonna do well and then seeing it flop and get 200 views. There's so many things I do that are constantly being rejected, but that's life. If you can't face rejection, you're never gonna succeed. And the law of detachment is really going to allow you to separate yourself and not make those rejections such a big deal and proceed on towards your goal without getting all emotionally reacted and flipping out if it doesn't go your way. So it's super valuable and super important, and it's something that the Qualify method takes advantage of massively. And the second reason is that you start to communicate in a very high status way, which changes how you're perceived to your benefit massively. So when I go and talk to girls, 90% of the time I just start by asking them their name, and then I ask them where they're from or if they're working or in school. And the funny thing is, the hottest girls who have approached me will do the same thing. They just start with the name. They're like, where are you from? It's usually because I'm in Scandinavia, and they ask, where I'm from because I'm speaking English. But they ask all the similar questions. This is how equals communicate, is what I've noticed, is like the most attractive girls ask me the same questions that I ask girls normally. So it's either that or just kind of just ending up in a conversation. You never know how exactly it's going to happen when you're in different parties, different social circles. Sometimes you just end up in conversation, but the conversation is very much about just getting to know the other person. That's really what it's about. It's just asking personal questions, taking genuine interest in learning about them, asking open-ended follow-up questions, being very charismatic, having a nice smile, holding eye contact. That's what it really comes down to. And when you do that, it just changes the way that you communicate. Because let's compare it to leading with a compliment, like going up to a girl and saying, hello, you're so beautiful. You are instantly perceived as inferior, even if you were a high status guy, even if you had a lot of income, or even if you had a good body. A girl's gonna be kind of like, why is this guy coming up to me and being like, you're so beautiful? It just kind of puts them off. It's completely different. I know some guys have gotten complimented by girls and they love it, and even I can understand that. I love when a girl's very straightforward. But girls get approached so much that you only have one opportunity to make a first impression, and all the guys who are giving her compliments, who are saying cheesy pickup lines or anything like that, are usually the low status guys. The guys who just end up in conversation with them, who are charming, who are not trying too hard, are the ones that they sleep with. This is something that I've noticed not only with myself, but with all the guys who I hang around with who are successful with girls. So the ones who don't treat it like it's too serious, who are just chatting to girls, being very nonchalant, but showing interest, being a fun, nice person, those are the ones that have success. So it instantly creates more of a high status communication environment for you. And it allows you just to be much more natural in your communication, which, like I said, is going to make you seem more high status than using those cheesy pickup lines or leading with a compliment. And also just being anxious and nervous, like if you're putting too much pressure on it, like from the previous point, the first lesson, then it all just kind of rubs the girl the wrong way. But this is what really allows you to communicate in a very natural, high status way that makes you the guy that she wants to get with. Third reason is that you come across as very confident when you're going after what you want, and you're speaking to her in a very secure way. So the first thing I want to address is that sometimes guys say, well, how is she gonna know that I'm interested in her sexually if I'm just being so nonchalant and just being a very cool, calm guy? There's been no girl once ever that I've talked to who has thought I went up to her strictly for the purpose of being a friend. It's never happened. When you're very charismatic and seductive with your nonverbal communication, it really doesn't matter what you say. You just have to talk about something. And usually the best thing to talk about is the other person and yourself a little bit and get to know them. That's usually where it all starts. So you don't have to worry about that. Girls know why you're coming up and talking to them. They're not stupid. Now, the second reason is that when you're communicating in this way, it's coming across as very secure. So there's something I learned in sales called assume the sale. So this is something I do within conversation as well. When I go up and talk to someone new, is I assume the conversation. I go into it, if I'm talking to a girl, acting like that I've never spoken to before, acting like this is a conversation that's going to go extremely well. Like I've known her for years. So when I go in, I ask her name. And if there's that little bit of tension early on, when I'm asking her these initial questions, if she's kind of like, why is this guy asking me all these questions and trying to get to know me? I just proceed. And I carry that calm, confident energy. and I have my charismatic warmth, nonverbal communication, like my soft eye contact, my big smile with the crow's feet, and I'm looking nice and friendly, open body language. And before you know it, she picks up on that energy and starts to reflect it back. I've seen this happen so many times, especially in the sober environments. In nightlife, it's a little bit easier. Girls are having more fun. It's more of that nonchalant, loose energy. But in sober life, it's usually you'll see that a little more, and that's where this becomes ever more important. So it's two things which you're being perceived as. You're being perceived as confident and very secure in your communication. And these are two things that are going to lead to girls, once again, perceiving you in a completely different way to your advantage. So these are the three reasons that the Qualify method is extremely powerful, and it's what I've been working with for the last couple of years, having tons of success. So the Conversation Mastery Guide is going to really help you get started and give you all the different ways that I know how to start and have great conversations, and also how to maintain them and the things that I talk about. And I break everything down for you so that you can have tons of success when going and talking to girls, and that's completely for free. It's the first thing in the description below.